Yeah, and it comes from the idea of like knowing that there is a shift happening in the world. Like everything, we all know that there's something happening, and we're trying to let go some of like very old belief systems that are very limiting to many members of our society. But the reality is that we have no idea of like where it's going and like what it is that this new paradigm is. And in the spirit of community and like knowing that we are building this as we go, it's like that's what new paradigm is. Like we are creating this all together.
Hey everyone, you're watching the Lively Charleston Podcast. Our goal with the show is to interact with and tell the stories of the amazing people, places, and businesses that make Charleston the best city in the world.
If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
And check us out on Instagram and Facebook, where we post content regularly throughout the week. All right, ladies, welcome officially to the Lively Charleston Podcast. I am really excited to have you all on. This is the first time we've done 3 people in one episode, so this is a new experience here for me as well. But thank you for carving out a little time from your busy schedules to come hang out with us a little bit.
Thank you
for having us.
So why don't we kick it off here? Let's start with, we're going to get into, you guys have a really cool production company that you've recently launched. We're going to talk all about that, how that came about, where you're moving, some big cool events that you guys have coming up. We give you an opportunity to share all that stuff, but we always like to kick it off just kind of with, let's start with where you grew up. You can take it as far back as where you were born, or just a little bit about your childhood and kind of what led you here to Charleston. So who wants to start?
Cool.
Aggie. All right, kick us off.
Well, so my name is Aggie. I am from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I was born, raised, and colleged, everything. I moved to the U.S. officially when I was 25. I kind of like transitioned into the U.S. when I was 21 while I was in college. I spent a lot of time in the city, but at the same time, my family was in the farming industry, so I got to be able to spend a lot of time in nature, which like was awesome. I just spent a lot of time riding horses and chasing cows and trying to pet all the sheep and jumping through silos and I don't know, just like running around cornfields. So that pretty much kind of like gave me like my first sense of like nature and like how much I love just being around other beings rather than just humans. I mean, like I had that contrast between a 10 million people city, which is Buenos Aires, and it's just like hectic and everything's fast and just everything happening all at once. And then I would go to the farm and it would be like, pretty butterflies and flowers.
You said 10 million in Buenos Aires?
I mean, like it's like New York, where like in the city itself is like 3-5 million people living in it. And then in the surrounding and everything, there's like around like 10 million.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, and like people come, I don't know what the exact number is of people that come into Buenos Aires to work daily. Like it makes it so that there are like 10 million people in there, like Monday through Friday.
Feels that way, right?
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And then it kind of like, it's a metropolis, so like it kept expanding towards the next city and towards the next city. So it's just a pretty massive human anthill.
So being from Buenos Aires, naturally you're a huge Cristiano Ronaldo fan, right? That's your favorite player?
That is Brazilian.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Did we pick up on Messi all the way, right?
Messi, Messi, Maradona. I mean, like I'm not a huge fan of soccer per se, but I was like told like, you love soccer. I was like, sure, whatever.
Sure, okay.
Awesome. I do love the World Cup. Like the World Cup has always been just like, woo, let's
Me
go.
too. I love watching that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only soccer event I get pretty excited about
Same.
personally. Yeah, how about you?
I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, essentially, mostly New Jersey, but I was born in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, which I don't really have a lot of recollection of, and you know how that was, other than going to visit, you know, when I was in my 20s. But growing up in New Jersey was very like urban setting, you know, lots of same thing, movement right outside of New York City, you know, like had all of that going on. So I was always a city girl, you know, always liked to be surrounded by people. I've had experiences where I would go up to my uncle's farm in New York and like have time with the sheep and the cows, but like wasn't a huge fan. I'm more of a city person for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, growing up there, I also grew up very religious as well as my family, and Was always very into school. Like, I was very nerdy, loved going to school, loved, like, learning all the time. But I also really liked hanging out with my friends and going out and being a rebel and doing bad things and, like, getting in trouble and stuff. But,
You were the kid that could, like, skip school but still get straight A's?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved school. I really did. But, you know, I liked having fun too. So
I was always so jealous of kids that could do that. I feel like I had to study so hard, get good grades. Like I couldn't just show up and get them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I was always jealous of kids that could get away with like having fun and also, you know, still being successful in that.
I feel like if you're really interested, like in school, and you're really like listening while you're there, it's kind of, you can pick up the pieces, you know, but.
Just pay attention, right? Maybe that's why, because I was sleeping probably through half of my classes. Awesome. Okay, so born in Brazil, moved to Jersey when you're little, a baby.
Pretty
right?
much like one, yeah.
Okay. So Jersey's more or less home.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, and then moved to the big city, Charleston.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
Big old city.
How long have you been in Charleston?
Just about a year, a little
Okay.
over a year.
And then Aggie, how long have you been here?
Officially October 2019. So it's been
A couple years.
3 years now.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
You went straight from Argentina to here?
No, so I did 4 winter seasons in Aspen, Colorado. When I was in college, I was like, I want to be a snowboard instructor.
That's my old stomping ground. I was from Denver.
Yeah. Oh, you're from Denver.
Yeah,
That's we just went there. We were there in August. We love it there.
Love Denver.
So cool. We ate so many donuts. But yeah, I started going to Aspen, Colorado while I was in college, like during my summer vacations and the winters here.
Okay.
And while I was in Aspen, I met the people who then kind of like recruited me to work for a beverage company called Guayaki Yerba Mate. So I worked for them for a while, which is like an Argentinian drink
Okay.
that's based in California, but like half Argentinian. And I got to just like
Where can you buy that?
Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. There's like pretty much in every like corner, like
That's the yellow can?
uh-huh.
I've seen it. I know what
Organic.
you're talking about. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a beautiful company. I loved working for them. I learned so much about regeneration and like gathering and community and like everything that they do. I just like fell in love so much with their culture. It was
that's
like
great.
awesome. Yeah, and they got me to move around the US. I've been like 36 different states in Canada, and like I went to Uruguay and Argentina with them, just did all sorts of like different experiences. It was like very, very, very cool. Like
That's
a
awesome.
A lot of experiences, which was awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Jing, let's talk about where you're born, where you were raised, and then how you got to Charleston.
I was born in Suzhou, China, and I grew up there all the way to college. And then I was in a college that had a program that is 1 year in China, 2 years in the U.S., and 1 year in China again, and you get degrees from both universities.
Oh, wow.
And I did that with Alabama. So my first America experience was in Alabama.
Like University, Roll Tide,
no,
Alabama?
Troy.
Oh, okay.
Troy.
Gotcha.
Mhm. And so I finished my undergraduate school, and I decided to go to graduate school, and then I went to Troy again for that. So I had an MBA degree. And by the time that I left Alabama, I was there for 7 years in total, I think.
Okay. All right.
And I moved to Atlanta. So finally, somewhere that's closer to the environment that I grew up from. So Suzhou is a urban setting as well. I didn't have much experience with nature when I was a kid.
Okay.
I started to have experience with like in the nature and have an interest to be in the nature starting from 2018-ish when I met my boyfriend now, because he's a big nature person. I went my first camping experience with him like three nights, and I
Really?
never camped before. So
So
that
what'd
was-
you think? How'd it go?
It was really cool. It
Yeah.
was, and he was impressed because he said I had no idea you can do this, because we were like climbing down a route that's not officially a trail. It's just rock climbing down, and we were hitchhiking and everything. And then I learned so much. He had to put food bags up in the tree for bears. It's just like things I've never done before.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So were you a little hesitant going into it?
No.
Or you were excited? You were ready for an adventure?
Yes, I was already. I'm always welcoming new experience, whatever it is.
Awesome. Very
Mhm.
nice. Okay. So grew up in
Suzhou,
China.
which is right next to Shanghai. It's like
Oh,
20
okay.
minutes from Shanghai.
Okay.
by train.
Moved to Alabama once you were grown up?
I was 19.
Okay. And then moved to Atlanta. And then how'd you find your way to Charleston?
So I met my boyfriend, and then also at the time I was ready to change a company. So I started looking around, and I was like, since he was already in Charleston, so I started looking in Charleston, and then I found a job, so I moved here.
All right. Very
Yeah.
nice. Does everyone speak more than one language? Am I the
Yep.
only one that doesn't?
Yep.
You speak
I speak Portuguese, Spanish, and English.
I mean, I did take Spanish, and I should, I took 2 years of Spanish. So.
Yeah, we all did.
That's not really that special. Okay.
Jing speaks Japanese and
You
Chinese.
speak Japanese and Chinese?
I'm learning Japanese.
I feel like those have to be the hardest ones. I mean,
Chinese is hard, and Japanese is very different from Chinese too. It's just the writing; it's similar. So
Really?
it makes it easier for me to read, but everything else I still have to pretty much learn from scratch.
oh man, it looks hard. It just
Yeah.
I have some buddies who have to learn different languages for work and things of that nature, and it's tough. It's tough just to learn a new language. Like you have to immerse yourself in it. I feel like to get it. I guess that's probably how you learned English so well. I imagine.
Yeah.
Just hang around with people that speak it and keep practicing.
I was very, very privileged that I had a bilingual education since I was 2 years old. So I was going to school where we had 12 hours a week of English, straight up, just you cannot speak in Spanish, period.
Oh, that's
And
the way to
then-
learn it.
Yeah, and then when I started coming to Aspen, it was 4 months out of the time. Okay, here we go. How do you say picture? Learning words like that. And even now, I always have every 6 months, I have something that I'm learning. Right now, I'm trying to differentiate between live and leave. That's been my biggest thing. And last year, I was trying to understand the difference between this and these.
This
I
and
Kilo.
these. Yeah.
Kilo.
The little thing, these little nuances, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
And
Most Americans can't even spell, there, and there correctly or use those, so don't worry about it. Okay. So really interesting. So what you wanted to be, I'm gonna list these off, and then I'm curious to hear what this was. So Steph, you wanted to be an actress when you grew up. Jing, you wanted to be a model, and Aggie, you wanted to be an industrial designer.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
So tell me the quick story on Jing. You wanted to be a model. Who inspired you?
I was literally 4 years old, and my dad asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I was like, "A model." And I didn't even know what it involves. It's just they're tall and beautiful, and they wear nice clothes. So I wanted to be a model.
That's pretty awesome.
That's the first, from my memory, what I remembered what I wanted to be. It has changed since then.
Of course, yeah. Typically, when we're 4, things evolve from there. Awesome. Okay, so you want to be a model. Aggie, you want to be an industrial designer. I don't even know what that is.
I mean,
To be honest.
I decided I wanted to be an industrial designer in high school once I understood what industrial design was. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a nun for a little bit. There was a moment there in 4th grade where I was I'm gonna devote my life to Jesus. And then there was a moment where I wanted to be an architect, and I really liked arts. I was always just immersed in painting and illustrating and drawing and dancing and singing. I just I was very drawn to art. I come from a very kind of conservative religious family background, so they were well, you can't be an artist. You're gonna starve. You have to I remember my mom being I'm only gonna have lawyers or doctors or engineer kids, and I was just all right. And I found that industrial design was kind of the merge between arts and engineering in a way, because you're designing products and designing systems and stuff. And I was just okay, this sounds like a great middle ground between engineering and arts. And I also loved physics and math. I was a math athlete when I was in school, and I competed for all of those fun math athlete competitions. So I was okay, I would take 2-3 years of physics in college and university while I learn how to sketch. And
So you could make mom happy, but then still get to flex that creative muscle a little bit.
yeah.
Very
It was-
nice,
It was
very
very
nice.
fun. And I kind of pursued it. I went to school for 6 years in the University of Buenos Aires, which is top 3 of my favorite places in the world. I think that's my second home for sure. That university, it's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, and then Steph. So you wanted to be an actress
I did.
when you were like little, or when you kind of grew up a little bit?
I think more like smaller, you know. I mean, okay, so I've always wanted to be an actress. I always like said I would be. And in high school, I was in, you know, all of the acting classes. I went to theater club after school, and I just like really liked the kind of people. I'm a people person, and I really like the quirkiness of people that are usually actors and actresses. You know, like we had a lot of fun improvising and doing all this stuff. But I just knew that I was way too shy. Even like right now, this is a lot for me. So I know, yeah. But the cameras are here. But you know, like I'm very camera shy, and was in a play once and had like one line. It's just like very nerve-wracking, and I realized I like to just like be around. So I do more like back of house stuff. You know, take care of everyone, manage things, and that's kind of where I found my middle ground, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
Throw events and have the like real artists come and do their thing and feel comfortable doing that, and I can just like be there, support them, and still be immersed in it a little.
Have you ever taken an improv class?
We did them in high school back in the classroom,
Way
just
back,
like just like on the stage, and everyone would, you know, I can't remember fully, but I remember it just like being a lot of laughing and having fun.
Yeah, just being a goofball.
Yeah.
There's actually one here in Charleston at Theater 99. They have an improv class.
It up.
Did you?
I would love to go.
I took that class. It was so much fun.
Really?
I actually took it to sharpen my sales skills, which, because you're just thinking on the fly, you have to go with the flow. If somebody says something completely wacky.
Mentality.
Yeah, exactly. We actually incorporated that game into our team. We play the yes and game. No, you're exactly right. It's fun. It just helps you kind of.
We should do that. That would be a fun team bonding thing.
You
can come too.
It is fun. Hey, tell me when. Well, at the end you do you practice, and then at the end you do like a performance for friends and family, and you can invite them, and you like do a little mini improv show. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. Okay, let's transition here. You guys are up to something pretty cool here. You started. Who's generally the spokesperson for you guys? When you
probably Aggie.
Talking about Aggie. Okay, so Aggie, tell us a little bit about what y'all are up to. You guys have come together here in Charleston, created a friendship, now a business partnership, and what has that led to?
So we met through the place that we were all working at the time. So we were working at the Woodlands Nature Reserve. I started working February 2021. Pretty much until like July, August. And then Steph came in around like also August. And Jing, you came in June, July?
But I met you before that.
Yeah, we met each other before. So Jing and I have known each other since like late 2018, 2019, I think. Through friends and like our partners, my partner at the time and her boyfriend. And like slowly developed a relationship. My drive for regeneration and for nature and like wanting to be immersed in projects that would like bring people together and like slowly just like bring this awareness of just trying to make this world a healthier place for all of us, not only humans, kind of like led me to want to work at the Woodlands Nature Reserve. And that's where we met. And I started working with like the events program there, just trying to create experiences for campers and for people who would come and spend the day. And like we're trying to build something exciting and fun and like bring bands to play out there and have workshops and have all sorts of different activities. There were some things that shifted within the nature reserve, and we kind of like had the opportunity to just start our own thing. We're like, okay, we can't roll anymore with the company itself. So why don't we just try our own thing? Like we all still want to bring people together, and like I'm also a musician on the side. I'm a graphic designer and an illustrator, and I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to just like do the things that we love. I know that Jing and Steph have their own things that they can talk about, all the things that motivated them to be there. So we started putting a series of events out at the Woodlands, particularly kind of like working with them at a time, and then slowly we started like thinking like, okay, what it is that we want to do, and we slowly got a little bit more into like the immersive art side of it instead of just like the
traditional show format.
Yeah. So we officially opened the LLC like in September, but we launched it in November.
And what's it called? What's your company called?
New Paradigm Productions.
Okay, New Paradigm
And
Productions.
Yeah, and it comes from the idea of like knowing that there is a shift happening in the world. Like everything, we all know that there's something happening, and we're trying to let go some of like very old belief systems that are very limiting to many members of our society. But the reality is that we have no idea of like where it's going and like what it is that this new paradigm is. And so in the spirit of community and like knowing that we are building this as we go, it's like that's what new paradigm is. Like we are creating this all together, and we are very open to listen to what our community wants and what our community needs. And the idea of new paradigm being something that is like flexible and like kind of like water kind of like adapts to the vessel that it's contained in, right? So since we started, we've done all sorts of different experiences. From like we launched with a house party that we invited pretty much everyone who had been supported us or like that we were friends with. We've always been very immersed in the music scene and the events scene and everything here in Charleston. So we had a beautiful, just like immersive experience in this like house. We set up a rainforest room with like all of this art, and then we had like, I don't know, like a neon room, and then we had an outdoor kind of like chandelier living room underneath like trees and bamboo, like bamboo patches. And we kind of like curated a bunch of different spaces and like try to see, I really like the how space translates into humans. And see, as studying industrial design, like I kind of had that background of like looking at a place and seeing like, okay, what do I see from here? I have a white canvas and like I fill it up with what, and then how do people interact with that? And
you said a house base, so you're saying you're like doing the parties at a house? Is that what you mean?
We did that first house party, like that first lunch party in a house, and it was awesome. It was like so cool because like we invited all of our friends, and you could see who went where and why, and like what are the groups that like kind of happen, and the conversations that happen on each room were completely different than the ones that happen in different other spaces. And
it was a beautiful house.
Yeah,
it has a big backyard right next to the water,
by the marsh. Yeah,
sounds awesome. Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, and we had like all of our friends and family playing music for us. Like my cousin was in town. He curated a 50 people catering for everyone. He was just doing like a lot of Argentinian different like little treats, and then we had a little stranger do a like an acoustic set, and Paul, who's Jing's partner, also like he
debuted for the first he put out his music for the first time that night, and now this year he's already nominated for Best Up and Coming Artist at the City Paper. So
wow, that's
it was really cool. It was like a very
amazing.
intimate party where he got to showcase his music, and now he's, just 1 year later has come so far. So
and DJ Modi Brain also played, and he also nominated.
Yeah, he's nominated for DJ of the Year this year. So he's our resident DJ that always plays at our events.
So is that part of your vision to bring exposure to up and coming artists and give them an opportunity to showcase what they do?
So pretty much, like it says, if you look on our website, it says that we're in this new paradigm where like instead of how normal companies operate, they have all the money and it all trickles down, and they have all their resources because they have those finances, and like we are more of like a community kind of where we all come together with our own resources and we pool and we can create something really awesome and create wealth for everybody, from not the bottom, but where everyone's at, like on the level playing field. So that is kind of the idea. It's like building that network and that community where people want to participate, and then they have a talent that they bring forward, and they have, light projectors that they've invested in that they want to like add to the art, and like everyone collaborates together in these sorts of ways, and we create these awesome events where everyone's a part of it and everyone has a piece of the pie. So it's really nice. And
that is where the name Artcelium comes from. It comes from the network resembles mycelium, and it's involved with art.
And
Gotcha.
mycelium is the mushroom network underground that connects all living plants and trees, and it's like pretty much the internet of plants. Like
they call it the Wood Wide Web.
Yeah, and it's magical. It's like there's there's trees that can communicate with each other. It's like a mother tree like drops seeds, and then from those seeds new trees come up. Like that mother tree can actually sense through the mycelium network that like one of its seedlings needs more nutrients or anything, and it can literally like just transport those nutrients to its seed. And like just like the idea of Artcelium being that network of artists where, hey, we want to create this just collaboration and this communication between each other. And I think like the main thing with the events that we're doing, it is exploratory. Like I think like that's the main thing. Like all of our events are very different and unique because they're all kind of improvised on the fly. Like we have this like live jam component, and where Moldy Brain, he facilitates it, and like he invites different artists, and like through Ableton just creates some sort of like live jam where all these artists come in and out of stage and just create this music. And so it's very interesting because you never know what's going to happen, you know, like everyone is experimenting. So in this event in particular, we not only have like up and coming artists in terms of like musicians, but we have a lot of up and coming artists in terms of like dancers and acrobatics and
aerialists and
no, this is all you're referring to when you say Artcelium. This is the name of your big event coming up, correct?
That's our main.
That's our main event.
That's the main one, guys. This will be an annual event.
It was monthly last year. This year it was quarterly. Next year we want to do 2, and then we want to do one big one. Like we're kind of trying to make it big. As the production gets
bigger. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Very nice.
Because we're just adding a lot more and a lot more. We need a lot more planning, a lot more, you know, a lot more hands on deck. But we are growing that community that makes that possible. You know, with Urban Artcelium that we have coming up, there's a lot of people that have reached out and said, hey, you know, I've been to Artcelium and I do this. How can I participate in some sort of way? And it's really awesome because we, you know, financially aren't, you know, doing amazing. We're an up and coming business. We're like putting our all into it. So right now it's just a lot of collaboration and like getting the word out and featuring everybody, you know, so everybody who wants to participate, we're making sure that we highlight them and feature them. And then whoever comes knows about them. And, you know, we're building this network, and it's really cool because we've got people coming from everywhere now. Our last Artcelium we had like Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee. This one we're having like I have cousins from New York coming, someone from Michigan. Jing invited someone in Peru that says they're coming, you know, so it's like really cool. We're expanding, and a lot of people are going to see kind of like what Charleston's up to and like the local art scene, you know.
That's amazing.
And we're always proud to talk about it to other people. It's like, yeah, come to our event. You're going to like it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes us excited.
Yeah.
And so your next one is on
11/11.
11/11. And what would you, someone watching this, they're just kind of learning what this is all about. What would you say to them on, you know, why they should come, and then how they can participate or get a ticket or whatever that process is?
Yeah, cool. So it's on 11/11. It's at LO-Fi Brewing, which is downtown off of Meeting Street. It's a huge warehouse and brewery. So it's lots of space, lots of really awesome things that we can do in that space. So we have a lot of people participating. DJ Moldy Brain, he is kind of leading the stage. He's going to be doing pretty much him on stage a lot of the time. Jing will actually be opening and DJing for a little bit, but then he'll, you know, hop on, and he brings other artists from different local bands. Like, you can kind of mention who it will be.
So we have DJ Jingle Sparkle opening up at 8:30. Then we have Persona La Ave DJ set as well. And then we have the Moldy Brain live jam. We have JR, who's in Magic Dust. He's going to be playing some guitar. Adam Coyne, he's going to be playing keys. He plays in Easy Honey and other bands in town as well. Paul Who's Lost going to be there. He's from Human Resources. I'm going to come up and pop and do some of my music as well. And then, we're going to have and then Moldy Brain's going to close out with
his own DJ set.
With his own DJ set. I am missing one person also from Terra Chrome that I can't remember his name.
But what's important and different about our event is that we are an immersive art experience. We're going to have a lot of lightings decorating the space. We're having art installations, which Aggie is mainly designing those structures, and we're all building them together. And we have live painters, and we have aerialists and LED performance.
Radiance Performing Arts are gonna be doing an LED live like dancing performance, and then we have Off the Limb is gonna be doing aerialist.
Out on a Limb.
Out on a Limb is gonna be doing an aerialist like.
They've got a group of aerialists that'll be doing bunch of different performances throughout when the music, kind of stops. Everyone will kind of watch their performance.
It's not just your regular show night, like at a venue.
It sounds like it's going to be quite an event. Is it a one-day event? Is it a weekend event?
Just one night.
Okay.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. At Lively Charleston, not only do we love talking about all the amazing things there are to see and do in our awesome city, but we also love helping our clients buy, sell, and invest in Charleston real estate. If you would like to learn more about the Charleston real estate market, feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email. We'd be more than happy to help you strategize and create a game plan that will be sure to help you hit your real estate goals. And now, back to the video.
So we're talking about your event coming up, Artcelium. Am I saying it right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's on November 11th. You have quite the collection of artists here. In summary, there's gonna be a lot of music, a lot of immersive experiences going on, like you said. And then it sounds like it's at a brewery, so a lot of beer to drink.
Yes.
Fair?
Yep.
Okay.
But no liquor.
I'm sold.
The one thing that I
I've heard
also do like, and this is something that I want to do, that I want to highlight from our production companies, like this is something that I've experienced throughout my life, just like going through all of these different events and festivals. Like I've worked with this company, Guayaquil Yerba Mate, and before I worked for Red Bull, and before I worked for like all of the different companies that like exposed me to all of these experiences. And it's just like the idea of the stimulant. And we're so limited by what stimulates our reality. The easiest thing is just like, we have a beer and we're stimulated, right? But we have 5 different senses or more. And there's so many ways for us to engage with reality. And we can enhance our reality through substances, but we can also enhance our realities through immersive art or through visuals or through music or through a meaningful conversation. And that's exactly what I think like Artcelium tries to bring together. It's just like within the network that we are building, or within this new paradigm that we are trying to create, is trying to understand what it is that we have and what it is that we need and what it is that we want in our lives. And it doesn't have to do with like oversaturating our reality, but it's like finding that like beautiful balance of like being present and being there. And like one of the most beautiful things that I enjoy from creating all these experiences is like stepping aside for a second and standing on the edge of the event and like observing. And not only as the person who puts it together, but like when I attend an event and I kind of like step aside, I like kind of like looking at like the different groups of people that are like hovering together. And you have the ones that are orbiting around, and then you have the ones that are like dancing, and then you have the ones that are chatting, and then you have the ones that are uncomfortable. But it's just like such a beautiful way of experiencing reality, right? Like humans have been gathering since the beginning of times, and the reasons why we gather have always been very different. We gather to celebrate, but we gather to grieve. Sometimes we gather to forget or to remember or to whatever. So there's a lot of to create. Yeah, and I think this setting in particular, it's very much so to create.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. It sounds. I think you all do a great job of articulating, what the goal of this is and what you're trying to create. But to me, it sounds like something that has to be experienced to fully capture it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Is it okay with y'all if we go? I'd like to come back a little bit, talk a little bit more about you guys, maybe help people get to know you guys a little bit better, the creators of Artcelium.
Yeah.
All right. Before we do that, in addition to Artcelium, what other sorts of, so that'll be your main event, but New Paradigm Productions, will you be, can a company hire you to coordinate their event, or, what other services will you offer?
That's where we're trying to go. Like right now we are exploring the different avenues of like the business that we want to create. I do believe that, yes, I would love to be able to like create an experience for someone else, especially because we have so much to offer in terms of like building realities and creating immersive art and creating and hosting, like particularly a vibe and an experience, like we're great hosts. Like we've all like found ourselves just like kind of being there, open and available for.
You can lift it a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
So that's one of the things that we want to do. Another thing Jing can talk a little bit more about.
I wanted to go towards the content creation route because we found ourselves having really good conversations when we are together. We all come from different background. We all really like to explore topics about just intricate things like how to react, how to behave, how to be, and also we're not from here. Well, Steph grew up here, but we all have very different perspectives when it comes to experiencing America. So the first time I came here was 19, so it's a lot of cultural shocks in the beginning. So
yeah, I bet. I bet.
And even with me growing up here, like I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, which has a very Brazilian like enclave. So it's the church I went to was in Portuguese. The restaurants you went to, you had to order in Portuguese. Like everyone was from Brazil or Portugal. So I got to see a lot of the duality in that, you know, and I still have that culture, you know, kind of very much embedded. And at home we only spoke Portuguese, and so it's funny. I was able to see a lot of the U.S. and like process a lot of it. And now when we talk about it, I can bring that, you know, those processes that I've been through and be like, no, like this
Absolutely.
is what it seems like, but this is what it is, you know, and just like kind of like we all help each other out and help each other understand the life that we're living and the place that we're living in.
And those different perspectives is just very helpful for us to understand each other and to have a different way of looking at the world. And that is very helpful.
It's very interesting how we all came in different stages of life. It's like infant, college, and like work, like adulthood. So we all have like, oh, great. Like we're all in different stages of, and I know that with them, I've learned so freaking much from that, like culture shock and like, oh, that's what it is that I'm going through right now. Okay, I understand now. Okay, sure.
I could see y'all having some pretty diverse conversations.
Yeah.
If you sat around, especially you throw a topic in the middle and you just dive into it, I think some pretty good things will probably come from that.
Yeah. From all angles too. Yeah.
And also from the from your original concept, what you were talking about, I imagine that, you know, almost with your annual event, that's almost kind of showcasing your ability.
Yes.
It's kind of free marketing and you're gonna have tons of people come in and say, can you do this for my company party or for my wedding or whatever the case may be? I feel like a lot of great opportunities will come from that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And we've been really doing a lot of stage designs too for local bands in town that want to bring another element to, you know, so you can go see live music any day of the week, but can you go see live music with like giant mushrooms and like LED clouds and, you know, flowers and stuff. So that's been really fun.
Yeah, we built stages in like Royal American and Poorhouse and Tobin's Market, and we work with like Easy Honey, 87 Nights, Mike Live.
It's really neat. It's really neat.
It's been very fun.
It's funny listening to you. There's I've been an entrepreneur now for 15 years, but I typically gravitate towards very simple businesses that are easy to understand, easy to, functionally operate. But when I think of yours, it sounds not easy.
It's a new paradigm here.
It reminds me of almost like I think of I've thought about the guy who founded Cirque du Soleil and how like incredibly difficult that must have been because of the intricacies of each of the scripts and then the specific sets of skills that you need people to have in order to be able to perform in your show, and putting together the lights and the music and the marketing and all of it. And that this kind of it from my perspective, it has that sort of a vibe where you're doing really, really cool things that when people experience them, they will remember them. But it takes a lot of energy, a lot of effort from you guys to pull this off.
That's what most of our conversations are like right now going. Like that's what we're doing is like, okay, so what are we doing?
How can we make money?
I come from a finance background. That's my day job. I am a finance manager. So
Me
I
too.
do
Finance people.
Gotcha. So I do think about how we can make our business sustainable, that kind of question too. Right now we only started a year ago and we didn't have really big events so far. This one's probably the biggest one yet. And that's why I want to explore the content creation world to see if that can be profitable, like just to support our business.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think ultimately we also all came together the other day and realized we do want to have a space where we can have our events, have working spaces, have artists come and, you know, work in our space and have like a community type of building. We were thinking of a house, you know, just like having all the rooms, having a backyard, you know, like having a garage where you can like build and, you know, just having a really cool space where we can all work together and bring the community together and create really awesome things and just house all of our needs and all of our
needs. I see what you did there. No, that's really neat. Okay, what is something? Let's do a quick little round. What's something neat about you that not many people know? Jing, you go first.
Okay, this is the thing that Steph said she didn't know, is that I played badminton kind of professionally. I was trained professionally for it for 3 years when I was a kid. It was very hard training, serious training. I was 8 years old. I was running 4 miles under the sun in noon of summertime and just doing jumping ropes, like also, and do a lot of like pulling on a bar and my hand will all break, and it's like very tough training. I haven't played in a long time because it's kind of hard to find a space to play here. I haven't seen one just right there.
Yeah, it's not that popular here.
Yeah, you kind of have to search for it, and then I need someone that's about the same level to play with me. Otherwise, it won't be fun. So nobody really knows. But
do you think you could beat all 3 of us at the same time?
At the same time?
Yeah. 3 of us on one side and you just
maybe not
smashing
you.
us?
You look like you're pretty athletic.
Not very coordinated though. That's great. That's so interesting. I've never met somebody who trained and played badminton professionally.
Yeah.
Super neat. Super neat. All right, Aggie, what's up? Most people don't know about you.
I don't think a lot of people here in the U.S. at least know. I studied Reiki for like 7 years, and I have a masterships in Reiki. I went through all of the levels, and I got my mastership, and I can initiate other people, and like I work a lot with energy and with like. I studied Kabbalah for another 5 years. I grew up very Catholic. I went to an Opus Dei school in from 2nd grade until senior year high school. And I came out and I was just like, this is beautiful and I need more. So I explored all sorts of different types of spirituality and like different practices. And I have a very, very long journey on this my spiritual learning and like practices and everything.
I'll have to connect you. There's a girl named Grace who worked with us just until recently, and she's, I don't know if it's master is the right Reiki master. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but she teaches Reiki as well. So I'll have to connect you guys offline.
I would love to get immersed in that world again. I feel like I learned it all, and then I was like, okay, that was enough information. Now I'm gonna go build fun stuff.
Now on to the next thing. Yeah. There's one more thing that you have to share here. So you were a snowboarding teacher.
Yes.
In Aspen?
I was a snowboard instructor for 2 winter seasons in Aspen, Colorado. And I had the opportunity to teach LeBron James's kids how to snowboard for the first time. So I had little Bronny. And
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Bronny? You taught Bronny how to snowboard.
Little Bronny was with my partner. I was with Bryce. Bryce was 7 at a time. He really liked soccer. So we got to he was very, very, very shy and very quiet. And every time I asked him, so what do you like? And he was like, so Bronny likes to play basketball. I was like, well, yeah, but what do you like? And we connected a little bit around soccer. I was like, oh, Messi. And he was like, oh, yeah, blah, blah. So I spent a lot of time on the ski lifts, gondolas. Yeah, Bronny was hilarious because as soon as he snapped his snowboard on, he was just like, I want to go to the snow park. And I was just like, yeah, no. We need to figure out how to do some J turns first. But it was very fun. It was my client was Maverick Carter. He was LeBron's best friend and manager.
That's wild.
And I got to work with him for 4 or 5 times throughout the winter seasons that I was there, and it was awesome. I loved Maverick. It was super fun and to hang out with him and all the stories that he brought and all the things that he told me and. When I was teaching him, he had just moved to LA, and I don't know, it was it was a very cool experience. I got to give him a nice, beautiful painting from the mountains. So I was I just want you to remember your time in Aspen and
oh, that's cool.
Learning. So that was cool. Very, very fun. Yeah, it was very interesting.
And so how was LeBron on a snowboard? Pretty good? Athletic?
LeBron couldn't, he didn't snowboard because I think his contract didn't allow him to snowboard at the time. Maverick was very good. Yeah, his feet were way too big for the snowboard. So like he's like pretty much like all of like half like his toes and a little bit more of his feet was like outside the snowboard. So I had to figure out a way to snowboard with him so that he wasn't too much on his toes. And like if we were in like a very steep hill, like it was very challenging, but it was like very fun, because like we figure out a way to like make it work with his body type. And,
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
As an instructor.
On your heels, yeah.
I thought that was a cool story.
Yeah, it was really fun.
All right, Steph, how about you? What's something not many people know about?
Not sure about that question. I was just like, what did I even say? But I think that something that not a lot of people know, but some people might, is that I've traveled most of the country in a van with my dog. So I did the whole van life thing, got a Sprinter out in California, had my friend build it out, had a beautiful bed in the back with a shower and a kitchen and all that fun stuff. And at the same time, I had gotten my dog, Sam, and we just drove around the country. He's seen like 30 or so states. We haven't done the Pacific Northwest yet, but we've seen a lot of the world, and we love to travel and camp and, see it all. I've always known that I like to travel, but being an immigrant, I didn't have my green card until I was like 21. And, up until that time, I was like, I guess I'll just see the U.S. I'll stick around here, see what I can see, and then I'll venture forward. So made it a point, did all that, and it was really awesome. Learned a lot.
How cool. It sounds like a fun chapter in your life.
Yeah, it was a really nice,
awesome.
chapter.
All right, y'all. If someone wants to learn more about you, learn more about New Paradigm Productions and Artcelium, did I say it right? Artcelium.
Yeah, you're killing it.
If they want to learn more about any of those, where should they go?
They can follow us on Instagram. For sure, we are pretty active on there. Also, our website is newparadigmproductions.org. So you can check us out there. There's a contact page that you can kind of like leave us a message. Tickets for Artcelium are also on sale on that website. There's like a little Artcelium tab. It'll tell you everything that we've got going on, who's participating. We also have like food vendors and local artisan vendors and things like that too that are going to be really awesome. You can get all that information there. But yeah, pretty much soon we might have a YouTube channel and kind of dive into all that.
Okay.
But until then, probably on our website or Instagram or Facebook.
You can also contact us directly. I'm like pretty active on Instagram. I'm a musician as well and a graphic designer and illustrator. So it's like at Aggie.Flores. I'm also super happy to like support anyone who needs any of that. And like with New Paradigm, like we have a lot of people like kind of like contacting each other personally. I know Jing also has her own like network of people, and Steph has her own network of people. So either through at New Paradigm Prod on Instagram or individually, each one of us has our own like.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they can start there at New Paradigm and then probably find each of you there and then maybe explore from there.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Okay. Last couple questions here. If you could go back in time to, let's just say to your younger self. We can go a little bit further back from when you started the business. That's about a year old or so. But let's just say if you can go back in time, give little you a piece of advice. What would you say?
Trust the process is mine. I used to like have that written on my ceiling above my bed, and I'd go to sleep every night and see that and be like, it's part of the process. Life has ups and downs. So whenever things are tough, just be like, all right, we're down now. There's going to be an up, it's okay. And then when you're up, it's awesome. Soak it in because there's going to be a down. So it's all part of the process. And as long as you're like doing the right things every day and working towards that goal, you just have to trust it at some point, Yeah. You're only so much in control. So
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I would say you actually can do whatever you want. So I also was always interested in art, and I wanted to take art as my major, and also my parents didn't allow me, and that's pretty normal in China. You just listen to whatever your parents tell you. That's why I took accounting. If you watch YouTube channels, a lot of spiritual awakening girls that talks about trust yourself, they are accounting majors.
Former accountants, yeah. There's a trend there.
Yes. So that's why I always find myself surrounded by artists, and I always like to write, and I'm a DJ now. So I wish I started going that route just earlier instead of doing what I don't actually feel passionate about.
Yeah. It's great advice.
But I like finance. It's different. Just want to clear.
Well, that'll pay off too.
Yes. I figured a way out to transition from accounting to something that I am interested in, and that's finance.
100%. Well, especially in one of the things that it tends to be, one of you mentioned the starving artist syndrome. What would you call that?
Sure. Yeah.
That seems to happen a lot, right? But I think a lot of it is that actually happens in a lot of different industries, but especially in something creative, because the money, like you said, creating a sustaining business, a self-sustaining business, that's not easy to do. And even if you're great at your craft, that other component, it does also need to be figured out in order to be able to make a career out of it.
Yeah, that's where I see myself fit in our company. It's like help to make our ship like sail far.
For sure.
Not just one time.
Yeah, that's big time. All right, Aggie, how about you?
Oof, I was waiting. I was like, you guys go first. I would go back and like tell myself that you don't need all the answers. That's something that someone told me not that long ago, and it was just very good. Like, you don't need all the answers. And just listen to yourself. Like, take the time to sit down and actually listen to your body and what you need first.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Great advice. Okay, one more. If somebody is listening to this and they see you three ladies have come together, you've taken a big risk, right? Like you said, you're in the beginning stages of the business financially. This is when it's the hardest. This is kind of the grind stage, even though you're doing what you love. Thankfully, you're doing what you love. Otherwise, it'd be brutal, right? But they see what you're doing. They're inspired. Maybe they want to take a risk themselves. What would you say to them?
Join us. Hop in.
Don't quit your main job.
That was what I said.
Oh, yeah. Don't quit your day job just yet. I remember you said that. Okay. Do you mean just, so you're not broke, or get good at what you're doing before you
jump
all
both.
in?
I think chasing your dreams is important, but you also have to be responsible for yourself as an adult. You have to be able to support yourself. That's the bottom line. So if you have a day job that's doing that, don't quit it yet.
Gotcha. Okay. That's great advice. So you don't necessarily mean like when I'm singing in the car, my girlfriend's like, don't quit your day job. Not so much that. Just make sure you have some money to live.
Reframe that idea of the day job instead of it being like, oh my God, I hate my job and this is what I'm doing. It's like, no, this is what allows me to be able to have the money and the availability to then grow what I want to grow.
Yep.
It's just like reframing and that sense of the resource. Like for me, it would be that. It's just like I would say, be aware of your resources, and that's your talents, your time, your responsibilities, your awareness, and also dream, find that middle balance between dreaming big and dreaming reality, dream,
I think it's more about one step at a time.
One step at a time. And it's you never know what that step's going to lead you to. And we were talking a lot about listening to what other people need. Is maybe I want to offer this, but if you're not listening to everyone around you and what your community needs, you might get too obsessed with the first thing. I remember in college, in university, someone said don't marry your ideas.
Or don't sell to yourself.
Yeah.
In marketing.
Yeah.
Just allow your dreams and your passion to have some sort of flexibility so that it can unfold and develop in a way that serves not only you but everyone around you. And pay attention to the planet, please. Whatever you do, if you start a business, please don't buy styrofoam.
Stay away from styrofoam.
You're just let's figure out a way so that we can be more sustainable with the planet, and we are like that's one of the biggest things that all of the art that we make is like mostly repurposed and like trying to like.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
Just try to like let's minimize our impact in the planet, please. That's so bad.
I love it. All right, Steph, do you wanna bring us full circle here? What piece of advice would you give to someone that's maybe inspired by y'all?
Find some friends that are also feeling that way and try to make something work with them, because I would have never been able to do this by myself. And I've felt this way for a long time, where I like wanted to do something that was like different and that mattered and that I was really passionate about. And I've never actually had a job that I was like, wow, like, you know, this is who I am. You know, I've always had jobs that got me to where I could pay for an experience that would make me feel that way, you know, whether that be a music festival or, you know, through art. But when I met Aggie, she was like, I've been praying for you. And like, that's like, I've held on to that, because I'm like, in a way, I was definitely like praying for you, like manifesting you in a way, you know, like waiting for the perfect people to find that with. So I think just being open and talking to people and seeing who else is in your boat and then being like, hey, you want to do something? That's really all it takes.
That's great advice. I will second that for sure. The power of when you bring passionate people together that have complementary skill sets and all want to go in the same direction it's extremely powerful. And it definitely seems like that is something that the three of you have. So I'm super excited to see where this goes and what y'all are up to. And but I guess the next domino, the first step is to come to Artcelium on November 11th and experience it for myself and anybody watching. November 11th, Artcelium.
Yeah, it's our birthday party. First birthday.
Oh, that's the birthday of your business.
Yep.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming to hang out with us. We really appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing what you guys are up to over the next several years here in Charleston.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Hey y'all, that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like or follow or subscribe, whatever platform you're on, just hit the button to make sure you don't miss any future episodes.
Yep, and please help us grow the channel by sharing it with someone else who might enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.